Welcome to Mysteries, Myths, and Legends. I'm Taylor.
I'm Savannah.
And welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy episode 85.
Whoop, whoop.
It feels like a milestone because it's like, you
honestly.
know, just like the 5s and the 10s, you know.
Facts.
They're good numbers.
Mm-hmm. They really are. We're really getting up there. That's like, I promise. We haven't talked about it in a while on the podcast. We talk about it every single week off the podcast, but we're really getting up there. So shout out to y'all who's been with us the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, before we get into like our stories, I have something crazy to tell you guys.
Oh.
Savannah does already know, but I was a part in setting a world record the other day.
Oh, yeah, you were.
Yeah. What I did is going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. So that's crazy. That's like a bucket list item for me. I've always wanted to do any record. I don't care what it is, just any one of them. And I did it by, so I don't know, probably everybody knows who Mr. Beast is, right? Like most people do.
Yeah.
But if you don't, he's like a YouTuber who's like super rich and he gives away like tons of money and stuff and just does these really extravagant YouTube videos. And so he decided he wanted to be a Guinness World Record and make and eat the world's largest burger within 8 hours. So not only was it the world's largest burger, but we also all ate it within 8 hours, which is like, that also beat some record. So
that's so cool, honestly.
it's so cool. Y'all, the burger was taller than me. It was 5,000 pounds. And also, it was not vegetarian. What's it called? Plant-based. So, no cows were harmed. So that's also good.
That's
I was
cool.
like,
were you allowed to take pictures and stuff?
no, but I did sneak a couple. Don't tell anybody. No, I really, really, really wanted to take a picture, like standing beside the burger, so bad, or at least get a picture of the burger. But I did not want to get in trouble, and I saw them kicking people out for taking pictures. So I took a bunch of pictures of like the inside, and I got like part of the burger. But I mean, we're gonna be able to see it all in Mr. Beast's YouTube video, and that's what I was gonna say is that there were so many cameras. Like, be on the lookout if y'all watch Mr. Beast. Be on the lookout for this video that's coming up because I'm probably gonna be in it.
See, I don't even watch Mr. Beast, but I'm gonna watch this because
Same.
I want to see what happened.
Same. Honestly, I really wanted to go. First of all, bucket list item for the Guinness World Record. So I didn't even care if he was gonna give me money, but I also wanted to see if he was gonna be giving away money.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
He was. But we were gonna have. Basically, I mentioned like it was in an 8 hour time span. And we got there like in the middle. So we would have to sit there for like 4 more hours. And we had work the next day. And it was until like 1 a.m. And it was 2 hours away. So we just did not have the time.
Okay, how much money though?
I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. Okay. And I don't think it was guaranteed. So I was like,
right.
You know.
Because I was going to say, if it's like more than you would make in a day, in a work day.
Of course.
Then, you know.
But no, nothing was guaranteed. Yeah. And so I also signed up for like this eating contest where you could win money, but then I got really scared and I didn't want to do it. So I chickened out.
Oh.
Because my stomach can't handle that. You know my stomach can't handle that. So I chickened out when I saw the people I was like up against. I was like, nope, I'm out. I'm out, fam. I'm out. There was no way I was winning. So, you know. But yeah, it was crazy, honestly.
I don't know if I could do like an eating competition or anything like that.
No, I don't even know why I signed up for it, honestly. But yeah, be on the lookout for that video, and you might see me in it. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I have one more thing before we get started with our stories.
Okay.
So, before we started recording, I was telling you that like I heard people outside of my house.
Yeah, you were freaking me out a little bit.
No, because I was creeping myself out. But I think I realized that it might be like a game going on because I live right by a high school, and I think they're having like a football game or something.
That's probably what's happening.
Because like I can hear like announcers and stuff. So if anyone hears that like very quietly in the background, that's what that is.
Sorry, it's no creepy ghost. It's just somebody playing a game.
Yeah, we also just had to pause because there was sirens going by too. So like there's just a lot
and
going on
Uzi
outside.
was just losing his marbles barking.
Yeah, see like
too much. So if you hear stuff, sorry, but we're not stopping again. So
we try to cut it out
Yeah,
when we can.
We do our best. But okay, one more thing before we get into it. I just have to mention, and also a humble brag, that I'm going to see Post Malone this weekend. That this episode's coming out. So I'm so excited.
That is awesome.
I know. I could scream. I'm so excited. So, shout out to the Posty fans out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if that's all, then I can get into my story now.
Let's get into it.
I think you're gonna like it.
Let's get into it. Yeah, Doja Cat.
Yeah, exactly. I mentioned this story to you, but I think you already forgot what I was gonna do. The Salem witch trials.
Yay! Okay, no, I remember now. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So I really was looking up if the Sanderson sisters were real, you know?
Yeah.
And
I was
they're
curious
not.
too, because I just watched it last night.
I know, because did you watch the second Hocus Pocus?
Yeah.
That one, I thought it was pretty good.
Listen, people are hating on that movie, and I thought it was really funny.
See, that's what I was...
People were really going harsh on it, so I had really low expectations, and I really loved it.
Yeah, it was good.
But I wanted to know if they were real too, so I'm glad you're giving me this.
I thought it was kind of random that they would just start singing.
No, stop. That's my favorite part.
Okay, no, but you don't think it was just random and they were just doing that just so they can have a song people can play around Halloween and make more money?
Maybe, but I loved it.
Because I was like, why is this a musical now? But anyways, I don't know.
You know I was all about that.
No, yeah, definitely. But they're not real people.
Boo.
So, they are kind of possibly based off of 3 sisters that were part of the trials. Rebecca Nurse, Sarah Cloyce, and Mary Easty. And Rebecca and Mary were actually found guilty and unfortunately hanged in the witch trials, and Sarah actually escaped.
Oh, go Sarah.
Yeah, so that's their sort of story. But I didn't really that's sort of all I got on them, but I thought I would go through the actual witch trials themselves. Because, it's spooky season, so we can get into some witches. All I really, I knew about the witch trials just because of, in school, you go through and, read the Crucible.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, and the Crucible, there's some real stuff in it, but there's also some stuff that's, drama, whatever the word is.
Dramatized?
Yes, dramatized. And it's fiction,
What, yeah.
Because it's a play, not fully real life. So I guess I'll start going through the real sort of story. So and also a lot of this information I got from BuzzFeed Unsolved, because I love them.
Love that. I love that.
And they actually have their own channel now.
Yes.
What is their channel
it's
called
called
now?
The Watcher, I think.
Yeah, The Watcher. But this was one of their old episodes with the Unsolved channel, where they went to Salem. So that was kind of cool.
I love them.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to check them out, they're awesome. So in 1641, the Puritan legal code was created, and this is just kind of crazy to me. The things I'm about to list. Okay, so there's a hierarchy of crimes, and it's in this order. So the worst crime you could do was idolatry. I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
It's basically loving someone as much as or as if it were God.
Yep. We would be... we would not survive the witch trials.
Yeah. So basically, you have to have God above everything else, or else you're dead.
Yeah, that's wild.
The second one, witchcraft.
Of course.
The third one is blasphemy.
Okay.
Which, do you know what that means?
Yes. Like speaking out against God.
Yes. Yep. And then it goes murder.
Okay.
After blasphemy.
So fourth is murder. Got it.
And then poisoning, which I guess is different from murder.
I guess.
It's like attempted murder.
Yeah.
That's not as bad. That's not as bad, I guess. And then the last one is bestiality.
Oh. So that's all the crimes? Like there's no more other than that?
I'm not really sure about that, but I think these at least were like the main ones.
Okay. So they must have been really having a problem with bestiality if that was like a written down rule.
Right. I mean, like, what else would you write in this, like, for like a little community?
I mean, like stealing.
That's true.
Like sexual assault, like stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, but this was back in the day. They didn't care.
Yeah, well, I know. You're right about that.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised like stealing wasn't on here. But
yeah, I guess they didn't care.
That comes after all of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have that established, that witchcraft is really high up there on these laws. Yeah. So in January of 1692, so this would be I was gonna say the year after. That is not.
No.
1641
like
to 1692.
40 or 30.
Yeah, I was not paying attention to my own notes. But anyways, in January of 1692, Reverend Paris, I guess you know the town reverend, his daughter Elizabeth, who was 9, and his niece Abigail, who was 11, they started exhibiting some strange behavior.
Oh.
So these cousins, they started making odd sounds and screaming. They were contorting their bodies and throwing objects. And they said that an invisible being was biting and pinching them.
Excuse me. I hope that's not real.
See, I don't know. Like, to me, that kind of just sounds like they were bored and wanted attention. And
no,
they were just,
I would definitely agree.
Weirdos.
But, like, even when I was bored and wanted attention, I didn't say stuff like that.
I mean, but they're 9 and 11, and there's no technology.
You're right. They're just really, really, really bored.
Right. Like, you're around these highly religious people.
Yeah.
You're, like, I don't know. There's nothing to do. Like, you probably... Can they read? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I don't know. So they're, like... To me, it sounds like they just wanted attention. They were doing this.
No, I agree.
But, after they did this, other children had, like, the same and similar things happen shortly after. Because, you know, I guess they're copying.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, maybe something was happening to them.
That's true.
A doctor, like the town doctor, he diagnosed them, actually. And he said that it was caused by supernatural causes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I guess he probably, like, looked them over. He's like, yeah, these guys they're...
They got the devil in them.
Well, I was going to say, like, they're fine otherwise, you know? Like,
yeah.
They seem healthy.
Yeah. And plus,
so,
like...
it must be supernatural.
Yeah. Because back then, you know, none of the, like, psychological reasons for why kids were doing... Or people in general were doing things. Like, I don't even know if they existed.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Never heard of her.
Mm-hmm.
Psychology.
So, a month later, in February of 1692, Elizabeth and Abigail, they accuse 3 women of witchcraft.
Now, why would they do that?
Well, they were pressured to name people. Unfortunately.
You know what they say about snitches?
Yeah, you're right. But they blamed them for, like, making them have their weird outbursts that they had.
Oh.
And they named Tituba, Sarah Osborne, and Sarah Good.
Okay.
And Tituba, I don't know how to pronounce it
Yeah.
properly. But anyways, she was the slave of the Reverend.
Okay.
So, and then that didn't I say the Reverend? Yeah, so Elizabeth's fathers. Yeah, so they were kind of close.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think one of the Sarahs, I don't remember which one, one of the Sarahs was like a woman who was like homeless. And the other one was a really old woman. So it's like they all were sort of like
they were all down bad.
Yeah. Yeah. They were all easy targets. And the girls, Elizabeth and Abigail, they were pressured to name these people by Jonathan Corwin, who was the judge in the town, and John Hathorne.
Ugh, disgusting.
Yeah. So the judge, he's like, who made you do this? Because I feel like if this was happening in actual real life, how would they know who was making them do it?
No, that's facts. Like, you're having all this weird stuff happen to you, and like, I mean, first of all, my mind wouldn't just go to, oh, somebody's putting a spell on me, like a witch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's so true.
I mean, like, if somebody... See, it seems like the doctor and everything, they were all like, oh, witches are making you do this. But then it's like, you had to come up with these names.
Right.
They just picked the 3 people in the town that everybody probably didn't like.
Exactly.
You know?
Which is just awful.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's just my opinion, but I feel like that is likely.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Yeah. So after they blamed these 3 women, Sarah Osborne and Sarah Good, they actually both professed their innocence. They're like, we're not witches. Why are you saying we're witches? You know?
Yeah.
And Tituba, she admitted to afflicting the girls.
Oh.
Yeah. She said, the devil came and bid me him. Wait.
Now why would she say that?
I just messed that up so bad.
Let's run it back.
Yeah, let me reread it. The devil came and made me bid him.
Oh.
So basically, like,
he made her. Okay.
Yes. So she said that she would tell the girls stories of witchcraft. She also talked about visions of animals, red cats, yellow birds, black dogs. And she said that there were other witches in Salem.
Oh.
But also, like, some people believe that she was forced to confess all of this.
Facts. That's what I was just going to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's probably likely.
Me too.
Because, I mean, she doesn't have any rights. She's already enslaved. And, like, that's just, an awful existence. And then she's, like, people are saying, you're a witch now. And she's like, literally. Well, fine. I guess I'm a witch.
Yeah. I mean, I would feel the same way.
Yeah, it's just awful. So that happened in like February. And then by May, 8 girls were like afflicted with witchcraft.
Oh,
and
Lord.
Started like acting strangely and, screaming just like the original, Elizabeth and Abigail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's very interesting. And in the same month, one woman, Bridget Bishop, she was actually put on trial and determined guilty of witchcraft.
Oh.
And she was the first one to be like, I think she was the first one to be accused, like, and determined guilty. And she was the first to be executed for witchcraft. And people say that she was the town gossip.
Love that for her. So
that's probably why somebody said that, oh, she's a witch.
Yep. That 100%.
Mm-hmm. So from July to September of 1692, 18 people were found guilty and executed for witchcraft in Salem.
Wow.
That's a lot of people for
That's so many people for
one
one
summer.
little city.
Yeah, exactly. For one town back in the day when there's probably like there's barely anyone there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awful.
And what's kind of crazy is there were 4 men who were executed.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I did know that there were some, but I didn't know how many.
Yeah. Which is, it's like just surprising because it's mostly, usually only women are seen as witches.
Yeah. I wonder what the
So.
men did.
Right. Like people just must not have liked them.
Yeah,
You
true.
know?
Or what if they were really warlocks?
I mean, maybe. You never know.
True.
Got some Harry Potters.
Yep, exactly. Ronald Weasley.
Uh-huh. And there were actually 150 people accused
Wow.
in that time, but only 18 were found guilty.
Wow.
Which is kind of surprising. Like that's...
No, that because I always thought it was more.
Mm-hmm. Like more that were killed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, because there were 100.
I mean, I'm glad they're not.
150 people who were accused. You know,
No,
I'm
for
just
sure.
surprised that not, like, it didn't end up that all of them were guilty.
Yeah, me
You
too.
know?
Me too.
They wouldn't have a town left.
No,
I
they
guess.
wouldn't. They must have had a way to prove.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the people who, like, the people of the town, they claimed that George Burroughs was like the mastermind behind all of it, and he was like the leader of all these witches.
Oh, okay.
And he was a Harvard educated minister. So interesting.
That's interesting that they would accuse him of that.
Right. And people went out of their way to accuse him and make him seem guilty.
Oh, that's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what he did.
Yeah, I don't really know, but the way that they made him seem guilty was kind of crazy. Because they would like be in court and like somebody's giving a testimony and people would shout out that he bit them, like from across the room.
Wait. Like he was sitting across the room and they were like, "Oh my God, he just bit me."
Yes.
Like that he ran over there and bit me, or he bit me from afar.
From across the room.
Literally, what?
Yeah, and then he or they would like show the bite mark.
Yeah.
And there would be a bite mark there, and they would be like, "Oh my God, your teeth are lining up with his teeth. Like this is definitely his bite mark."
I mean, was it his teeth?
I mean, no.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
The audacity of them to say that.
Yeah, I don't know. But the way that they did that, they must have like bit their own arm or something before they went into court, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
People also saw like spirits in the courtroom.
Oh, what?
Yeah. They were like, "Yeah, there's ghosts in here, guys."
Okay. Sure there were.
Right. One person said that it was Burroughs, like the man that they said that was in charge of all of this. They said that it was his deceased wives thirsting for justice.
Oh, thirsting for justice.
Mm-hmm.
What a statement.
Yeah, because I guess, you know, he was such a horrible person that, like, they needed to come back to life to, like, get their justice. But, yeah, I don't know about that. Somebody else also said that he used an invisibility cloak given to him by the devil.
Okay, so this really is Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't believe either of those. But,
yeah,
you know.
no. Me neither.
So Burroughs, he was sentenced to death for being a witch. And before he was executed, he actually recited the Lord's Prayer without making any mistakes, which witches are not supposed to be able to do this.
Okay, so did people believe that he wasn't one now?
See, people like were questioning it. They're like, "Wait, maybe he's not a witch," but I'm pretty sure he got killed anyway.
Oh my God.
So, in October of that year of 1692, still, the minister, he implored the court not to consider spectral evidence in the trials. So basically, like, ghosts and such. They're like,
Yeah.
we're not taking that as evidence anymore, guys.
Obviously, they cannot. Even back then, they had some sort of a rule.
Yeah, they're like, okay, witchcraft, yes, we totally believe you, but like ghosts,
Ghosts, unacceptable.
yeah, no, that's not real. And the governor's wife, actually, soon after this, she was brought in for interrogation.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, yes, Governor Phipps, he had created the Court of Oyer and Terminer, which is to hear and to decide.
Okay.
And this is the court that was like being used to hear the cases of like the witch trials. And he made it specifically for the witch trials.
Oh, wow. That's really extra.
And now like his wife is involved, right? She was accused. So the governor, he decided, okay, guys, we're gonna take this away.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
So he released some of the people who were accused of witchcraft, and he halted all further arrests for witchcraft and replaced the court of Oyer and Terminer with the Superior Court of Judicature,
Okay.
which was not permitted to consider testimonies of spectral evidence. So like magical type stuff and spirits and all of that. Like you can't use that as evidence.
Okay.
So they're like, okay, we're gonna only have like real life things. You can't say that people are witches anymore. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true, but they couldn't. There was a lot less of that, I guess. So in the witch trials, there were a total of 20 people executed.
Wow.
For being witches. 14 women and 6 men.
Wow.
And actually 13 more may have died in jail before getting to trial, which is kind of sad.
That's awful.
All of the accusers were women between the ages of 9 and 20. Which
See,
is
that breaks my heart.
very interesting, honestly.
Guys, women are supposed to support women.
Yeah, exactly. Like most witch accusations in like any other place or time, you know, not in these specific trials, they were done by men. And then this was all women or like girls, like little girls.
Why? Okay,
So
why are we believing little girls to begin with?
See, there's that too. Like, I don't know.
Weird stuff is going on.
Yeah. But I think part of it might be because they were getting listened to, they did it more. They were like bored and then they got power.
Yeah.
And they could get rid of people they didn't like.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
It's almost like the ultimate high school drama, but this is life or death.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's craziness. And they were actually all buried in unmarked graves.
That's even worse.
Yeah, which is sad. And nobody knows for sure where they're buried still
Oh my God.
to this day. According to like some tour guides in the area, they're buried on Gallows Hill, which is
where the
just
gallows were. I have to assume.
I guess so. There's like a hill in Salem,
Yeah.
and it's supposedly haunted. So
Of course it is.
exactly.
Makes complete sense. I would haunt it too.
Yeah, definitely. So there are some theories on sort of why this happened. So what do you think? What's your theory?
I mean, I'm kind of believing like the women finally getting power, like taking out people they don't like in the town theory.
Yeah, I like that one.
I don't like it, but I think that it might be real. No, I know that's what you meant. I just had to say.
So that is sort of like the first theory that people believe. But it also has to do with like the Little Ice Age, because that was around this time.
Oh, okay. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I didn't really either. But apparently the Little Ice Age was like from 1550 to 1800.
Yeah.
And in the middle, so like around this time, it was like intensified. So this caused hardships for people because, it's cold.
Yeah.
That made people, they started like blaming each other for everything. And basically people were bored and
it's giving
cold.
cabin fever.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And they started hating their neighbors. So they're like, yeah, just made up that they were witches.
Yeah. No, I that adds to the flame, I feel like, because I'm irritable when I'm in the house and cold too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, exactly. The next theory is one that I've heard of before. But I believe it less than I did like years ago. It's that they were exposed to ergot, a fungus that could be present in grain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely have heard that theory before too.
Mm-hmm. So this fungus causes hallucinations, muscle contractions, vertigo, and crawling, tingling sensation.
Ew.
So all of that together seems like what these girls were experiencing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this probably could have happened, but they didn't show like any other signs of having this sort of poisoning. Because apparently it can like disintegrate your fingertips.
Ew, yeah,
and
I've heard
stuff.
that too.
Yeah, so like none of that stuff was happening to them, so they were probably just acting weird.
Yeah.
Not because they were like on drugs, but
Yeah.
because they're just weird. So the next theory is that there was mass hysteria.
Yes, of course.
Of
The
course.
good old mass hysteria.
Yeah, and it was caused by a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old.
Yep. You know it normally is caused by a freaking child.
But yeah.
We need to stop believing these kids.
There's another theory that during the trials, Robert Califf, who was a merchant, he blamed Samuel Parris, the minister, for exploiting the trials for socio-political gain.
Yeah.
So he basically said that he forced Tituba to say the things that she said, like say that she was a witch, so that he could seize back power. Because like everybody was so paranoid and everything, so they would turn to religion and turn to the minister and have power back in the community.
Yeah, I also fully believe that. Like, she 100% was not really a witch. She was forced to say that.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And he would be the one to force her to.
100%. Right? No question about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the last theory is that they were actually witches.
And then there's also that.
But I feel like that's definitely not true.
No, I don't think so either. Like, honestly, maybe one of them, though. Like, I feel like maybe. There's a possibility, maybe one. Because, I mean, I feel like it had to... I just don't know. I guess it's a possibility that it's not, but also, maybe. Yeah. But I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think this is more like drama.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like... Is there a show, like a series about this? Because there should be. It would be so dramatic.
I don't know.
Because, like, just think about it. Like, these characters, like, the next day, nobody would know, like, who's going to get blamed for being a witch next. Like, who's going to be accused.
Can we make the show?
Right.
This is our idea. Nobody can steal it. Sorry.
I want to see this.
Same. Let's make it happen. Hollywood, we're calling.
Yeah, exactly. And we can be the stars.
Yeah, obviously we're directing and starring. Duh.
Exactly. So there is a witch trial memorial in Salem, and the state of Massachusetts has actually apologized formally for the witch trials.
Good.
In like the 1950s, they did.
As they should. Should have been way before the 1950s, but okay.
Yeah, I guess they just didn't really think to do it until then.
They're like, yeah, this is coming about 300 years too late, but we're sorry.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we probably shouldn't have done that. Yeah, so those are Salem witch trials.
That's crazy. That's like not really what I thought it was at all.
Yeah. Yeah, like I knew some of it, but then, yeah, it's just, It's just a whole mess.
That's so crazy. And wow, that's so crazy. And it's also just so crazy because our stories, they always line up,
Mm-hmm.
in one way or another. So that's funny. I guess you'll see how
Okay.
this
Yeah,
is
I'm
gonna
excited.
wind up with that. But that's really crazy. Okay, first of all, before I move on, I've always wanted to go to Salem, especially during Halloween time, or at least the fall, because it's
Oh, me too.
beautiful.
See, I've heard from people that you should go in like September
Yeah, like definitely
because
not October.
yeah, because everybody goes in October.
Yeah,
But less
definitely.
people go in September and it's still like fall
Next
vibes. So,
September? Question mark? Question mark?
see, that would be fun.
Listen, I'm really trying to go. Um, but anyway, moving along. This week for you, I have an absolutely wild story. So let's just get right on into it. I have for you the mystery of Bella in the Witch Elm. Dun dun
Oh,
dun.
I've never heard of that.
You've never heard of that? Well, yo, Lord, buckle up, Savannah, because this story is crazy. So this is a mystery that I'm going to be telling you, but we're diving today into a little bit of true crime as well.
Oh,
But it is
okay.
mostly a mystery, but it's a true crime mystery, so enjoy. So I'm going to set the scene. We are in, Lord help me with these pronunciations as well, because I don't think that it's Worcestershire, England, Worcestershire. I don't know.
See,
And I really apologize.
yeah, somebody
Because,
out there's laughing at
yeah,
us.
I'm so
I
sorry.
don't know how to say
I'm so
either.
sorry. I just can't say any word, so I'm sorry. But we're in England, and it is April 18th, 1943. Okay, so 4 local boys, Robert Hart, Thomas Willits, Bob Farmer, and Fred Payne, were quote unquote bird watching in this town of Hagley Wood. Or not a town, it's just like, well, it's called Hagley is the town, but Hagley Wood is actually a part of the Hagley estate that belonged to Lord Cobham at the time. So like
Okay.
a very bougie estate.
Okay.
Which is, these boys should not have been there because this is obviously private property. But I did say quote unquote bird watching because there are some reports that say they were bird watching and others saying that they were actually trying to like poach some animals out there in that field illegally. So who knows what they're doing, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. So the boys, they're just walking around this property. It's like a really big field, but also woods. And Bob, one of the boys, saw this like really big, beautiful elm tree. And specifically, it was called a wych elm tree, and it's wych, W-Y-C-H, so not like a witch. It's just like
Oh,
a type of elm tree.
interesting.
Yeah. So Bob was like, "This tree is the best bird watching tree in the world, or possibly the best like lookout tree to kill some animals." I don't know what they were doing, you know. But he was like, okay, let's climb the tree. So he gets up there, starts climbing the tree, and he looks down and he notices that the tree has a hollow trunk. And he's like, all right, that's so cool. Which hollow trunked trees are like my favorite thing in the whole world. I love going inside them. Have you ever been in one?
No.
That's crazy. It's so fun. It's so weird. It's giving Stranger Things vibes, but you don't go into the upside down.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. Anyway, so Bob was fascinated with this hollow trunk of this tree, and so he like is looking down into the hollow, and he sees this like white thing, and he like recognizes that it's a skull, and they're like trying to get it out. So like the boys are like using this stick to try to like get it out, but they fully think it's just like an animal, you know, skull. But once they pull it out using the stick, they notice that the skull has a ton of hair and human teeth. And so they
Oh.
immediately knew that this was a human skull.
Oh no.
But because they were trespassing on this land illegally, and this was like the main head person of the town, they did not want to get in trouble. So Bob put the skull back into the hollow of the tree, and the boys ran home without mentioning it to anybody. And they all made like this little pact that they were going to take this secret to the grave. Like they were like, we cannot get in trouble for this. And they were like 10-year-olds. So obviously they thought this was like going to be the end of the world if they got in trouble. So obviously they should have, told somebody.
Yeah, they probably should have, because, like, they would not have gotten in trouble, right?
Right.
Like,
Okay,
if they
well,
found something.
well, um, as we are sitting here today, obviously somebody told because we know the story.
Well, yeah,
So
sure.
the youngest of the boys, Thomas, the second he got home, he was feeling so uneasy about what they did, and he was just like, I don't even really care if we get in trouble. So he went and told his parents, which as he should. So thank you, Thomas, for that one. So obviously, these parents, they call the police, and the police are actually like, it's really late outside, so we're gonna wait till the morning to go because it's dark outside,
Okay.
which is just weird. It's not even important to the story, but that's weird. Like, babe, get a flashlight and let's go.
I mean, I don't know, though. Would you would do that? Go out in the dark?
Well, like, yeah, if I was a police officer
Oh,
and
the
they found a
police
body in
officer.
a
I
tree.
thought you were still talking about these parents.
Oh, no, no, no. I said the parents. Sorry. The parents called the police, and the police were
Right.
like, we're going to wait till the morning.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, the police probably should have done their jobs.
Definitely. Like, imagine somebody like came and moved the body. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, they didn't.
Right.
They didn't do that. But anyway, I just thought that was crazy that they waited. But they waited just overnight because they were like, it needs to be daylight. So they're checking the tree, and they found an almost complete skeleton. And the skeleton was wearing a shoe. It had a gold wedding ring and some fragments of clothing on it. And the skull was super valuable because, as I said, it had a bunch of hair and teeth. And because I am a forensic science master, I, actually have a little bit of information on this. So hair and teeth are like two of the most identifiable features, like on a human, specifically teeth. So the police were like super excited. They were like, okay, we're going to find out who this is easy. Because like they had a lot of clues. They had a lot of stuff going for them,
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, this is a mystery. So I just need to warn you right now. We have no answers.
I hate that.
Me too. Yeah, me too. So, anyways, the police were, they were in shock because this is a big tree, but like the inside of it is very small. And so the fact they were just like a little bit shook that she was even in there to begin with. They were like, this is crazy. But as they were pulling out the skeleton, they realized it was missing some bones. Specifically her hand. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
And what is really crazy is that when they sent her skull to like, I think 6 or 7 different dentist office, like forensic odontologist or whatever, for like investigation, and all of them claimed that she had a very, very unusual bite. Like her front 2 teeth were like kind of overlapped, and they were like, this specific bite would be very recognizable to anybody who knew this person. Like you would be able to know. So they were like, okay, perfect. Even more identifiable information. Like we should be able to find who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
But the most tragic part about that is that even though they had like that huge identifying factor, the police never put that on any papers, never included that information like on anything. So nobody even knew to look for somebody who had like a weird overlapped front 2 teeth. So
Well, why not?
why not? Well, we're gonna get there. So they the what's it called? I've lost my spot. Where did I go? Okay. So during the investigation, right, I mentioned that the skeleton inside the tree was missing a hand. And as the day went on, they're obviously looking around the tree as well. They actually find the hand of a skeleton buried in the field pretty close to the tree, but not like super close. So that's a little bit weird too. Like her hand is just over yonder in the field a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Yeah,
So
that's creepy.
these remains were sent to a man named James Webster, who was going to perform a full forensic exam on it. And he was quickly able to determine that the remains were from a female who had died probably at least 18 months before the police found her. So a year and a half she had been in this tree, which is just literally awful.
See, that's like heartbreaking too, because
It's so heartbreaking.
I mean, and they still don't even know who it is. Like, so
No.
nobody was looking
To this day. Yeah.
It's just
It's so gut-wrenching. It's awful. So that makes her death near and around October of 1941. Okay. And let's see here. I keep losing my spot. Okay, he also said that she was around 5 foot tall and between 35 and 40 years old, estimated. So, you know, she wasn't even really that young either. Like, she wasn't old, but not that young. So, you know, all these things are just even more clues that you would be able to think, like, okay, we're going to find out who this person is. You know what I'm saying? So, just awful that they did not. And he also discovered, like, a bunch of other really gross stuff that I will spare you the details of. But basically that the things that he found suggested that she died from suffocation. So...
That's not good.
Yeah, not good at all. But his most important finding was that her body had to have been placed in the tree when she was already dead. But very, very quickly after she died. Because she would not have been able to fit in that tree if rigor mortis had already sat in. So, again, as I said, this is the one thing I actually know about. And I feel like I'm always saying, like, oh, I don't know. But this I actually do know about. So, in case you don't know, rigor mortis is basically, like, after a human dies, like, a few hours after, our bodies become, like, extremely, extremely stiff due to, like, the blood not circulating anymore. So, like, our muscles are, like, we need the blood in our muscles to move. So, because that's not happening anymore, the body gets really stiff. And so, basically, this medical examiner was like, if she had been dead even, like, an hour before whoever put her in this tree, she would not have fit. So she had to be killed very close to this tree, is basically what he is saying.
Yeah, but not. So, but they determined that she was not in there.
What do you mean?
Like, how do they know that she wasn't just in the tree when she was still alive? You know?
I don't think I wrote it down, but there was a reason. There was reasoning behind it.
Okay.
But yeah, he just I guess it was from, like, the stuff that he found, like, in the suffocation details I didn't want to get into because they're very disgusting and gory.
Yeah.
But, like, basically it kind of proves that she had to have been not in the tree because her blood would have pulled a different way.
Oh,
if she was still alive. So
it's just so weird that you can. It's kind of cool that you can, like, know all of this.
It's so cool.
But it's like
why I studied it, honestly.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe somebody would do that. Like, why would you just stuff her in a tree?
That's like the biggest.
I don't know what's going on.
Like, why? Why? That's just why. I just wish I knew. Let's see here. Okay, so because of all this information, the police were able to determine, like, at least from the items found on her body, like, kind of a general sense of what this woman could have looked like when she was still alive. But the biggest problem with that is that there were hundreds upon thousands of people reporting missing at this time because of World War II. So, like, finding a missing person who looked like every other 35 to 40-year-old blonde girl, it was far more complicated than the police thought it was going to be. Because, obviously, World War II, millions and millions of people who look exactly like that were missing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It made their job a lot harder. And they did try very hard to go through, but, you know, none of their leads ever really provided any real evidence that anybody on that missing person list could be her. So here is where it's going to get weird. You think it's not weird already? It's going to get weirder. In 1944, 3 years after this girl would have allegedly been killed, a graffiti message that was related to this mystery appeared on a wall in Upper Dean Street in Birmingham. Okay, and the graffiti said, "Who put Bella down the witch elm? Hagley Wood." So this is like the first time. Okay, first of all, saying a witch elm in Hagley Wood is very specific. So you know that person was talking about that girl in the tree because Hagley Wood isn't that big of a property. And honestly, we're not finding that many bodies in trees. So now police kind of know, like, okay, maybe her name's Bella. So now we can...
See, but did somebody just make that up? Like, was this story in the news?
It was not really in the news. It wasn't really. And even though it was a little bit in the news, the information of, like, it specifically being a witch elm tree was not in the news. So they were like, all right, this seems real, because nobody would know about the witch elm specifically. So yeah. So after the first message, others started appearing all over the city, and some of them obviously were copycats at the time, but others actually were found in the exact same handwriting and the exact same chalk. So, you know, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. There were also other ones written, and I'm not even going to read them because I feel like I'm literally having a stroke when I read them, because the English is like, it's not broken, but it's just like, you know, in The Office when, what's his name is like, why use more words when few words do trick?
Yes.
Like, that's kind of what it's written as. But basically it's like giving the location of like where the tree specifically was.
Okay.
To like prove, I guess, that this person did know what was going on. Right. And so, yeah, it's a little weird. And the messages kept popping up closer and closer to the city where it actually happened in. So... very weird things are going on. Very weird thing. Because somebody knows. Whoever that person is knew something about whatever happened to this girl. Or at least wanted to know. Yeah. But I'm just like, why didn't you come forward to the police and be like, hi, I might know something? Like, I don't know.
I mean, maybe... well, I mean, they asked the question, who did it? So, I mean...
that's true. But I'm saying, like, them asking that question seems as if it makes it seem like they know who Bella is. Yeah. So, like, why not be like, hi, this is Bella Smith or whatever her last name is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? True. It seems like they know her. Yeah. So I'm just confused by that. But, let's get into some theories about what could have happened, okay? And who this could possibly be. Who Bella could possibly be. So there's a bunch of theories, but there are two kind of main theories. So the first one is that Bella could possibly be a Birmingham sex worker. And the reason that people think this is because there was a report sent to the police in 1944. And in the report, this other sex worker said that she knew one of her coworkers named Bella that had previously worked on Hagley Road, and she claimed that she had disappeared 3 years before this event. So if you do the math, 1944, 3 years, that would have been 1941, which is the year that she died. Yeah. Okay. So it lines up with the timeline, and it's also rumored that, like, I don't know, like, if it was just going around, but apparently some people in the town knew whoever was spraying the graffiti, and they were like, I think Bella knew the person spraying, like the guy that was spraying the graffiti. So, I don't know. It's very secretive, but I think the reason for that is because, especially in this time, like, because she was a sex worker, nobody really cared about sex workers. Like, people still don't really care about them today, including police. So, like, back then, it was extremely bad. So, personally, I feel like she probably was a sex worker. And that's why, like, nobody really wanted to come forward.
Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty likely. Because it's like, if you know her, well, how do you know her?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But the second theory... oh, also, before I move on, literally, because of the time and people just don't care about sex workers, that's literally the only information that the police cared about in that report. The second that they heard that it was about a sex worker, they said, we don't care, we don't want to hear about it. And they closed the file. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Oh, my God. So, there's literally no other evidence on that being her, but simply because the police are mean and don't like sex workers. Yeah. So, so moving on to the second one, it came from a statement that was made to police in 1952 by a woman named Una, okay? So, Una girl, she claimed that her ex-husband, Jack, had confessed to his family members and her that him and one of his friends had put the woman in the tree. And that's all he said. He said, yes, I put the woman in the tree. And apparently, Jack said that him and his friend, they met for a drink at this place called Littleton Arms, which was a pub in Hagley.
Mm-hmm.
And like while they were at the bar, you know, they were just having a good time drinking, and they met this girl and hit it off, and like they were like, let's go back home or whatever. So they were driving home together, but she was extremely, extremely intoxicated and ended up passing out in the car while they were driving home. So because she passed out, Jack and his friend apparently got super scared of like getting in trouble, and so they panicked and threw her in the hollow tree. And they were like, the reason that we threw her in the hollow tree is because we wanted her to like wake up in the morning in this tree and be like, oh wow, maybe I shouldn't be getting this drunk anymore. Like maybe, and they said, quote unquote, they wanted to make her frightened of her ways because she was getting drunk.
I mean,
allegedly.
That's so harsh.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
You're gonna leave a girl on the tree. You couldn't have at least just laid her on the ground next to the tree? Like, is that not enough?
Right.
Like, that's weird. So the fact that he actually confessed to that is pretty wild, right? Because it sounds pretty plausible. But what's even crazier is that Jack Mossop was confined to Stafford Mental Hospital for the rest of his life because he kept having recurring dreams of a woman staring out at him from a tree. Okay. But he actually ended up dying in that hospital before her body was found in the tree. So nobody was ever able to corroborate the story from him. And nobody could find his friend because he'd never mentioned their name. And so, unfortunately, people don't believe this story as much because of the timing that Una kind of like laid it all out there. It was kind of like 10 years later after Jack's death. And so people were like, are you just making this up to be famous? But then at the same time, I'm like, she's not famous. Her husband's dead. Like, why would she say that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, see, like,
maybe.
A lot of the time when people say stuff like that, like, oh, they're just saying it to be famous or for attention.
Right.
It's like, a lot of the time, it doesn't really make sense.
Like, actually, all the time, they never get famous. So that it's not going to work.
I mean, in my story where the girls were trying to do it for attention, that was a whole different, like, yes, they were. Like, you could tell.
But famous in a really bad way.
Yes, and in this, it's like, why would she do that?
Exactly.
You know?
Okay, so do you want to hear my personal theory on this?
Yeah. Yes.
I personally think that maybe that I believe Uma and that her husband and his friend really did do this, but that this wasn't just a regular woman, that she really was that sex worker woman named Bella, and that they were thinking that they were going to take her home for the night, but after she got too sick, they got angry and killed her and put her in the tree. Now, that is not corroborated in any way, shape, or form. That is literally my personal theory about what happened, because I think it makes the most sense.
Do you think maybe she got killed by accident?
That's also a possibility, and that they were... I think that's a possibility anyway, even if it doesn't involve these people, just because I feel like whoever did it was obviously panicking and did not want to get caught. They were like, if I put her in this tree, she's not going to be found for a long time, maybe ever.
Yeah. I mean, and they were right. Like,
and they were correct. Yeah. They sure were.
Yeah.
Whoever did it actually truly did get away with it. So that's just simply horrible. So those are the two main theories, as I said, but there are also some crazier theories. So I thought I'd, mention them. In 1945, a woman by the name of Margaret Murray, who was an anthropologist and archaeologist at the University College in London, she proposed that Bella's death had every single thing to do with witchcraft. Dun, dun, dun. This is where our stories connect.
Okay. I don't know about this one.
Okay, so I said the same thing the second I was doing the research. However, this reasoning is unlike any other thing we have ever talked about on this podcast. Okay, I've never even heard about this, and this is like really wild.
Interesting.
So I mentioned at the beginning of this story that when the remains were found in the tree, she was missing a hand, and they later found it close to the tree, but not too close. Remember, we recall this statement.
Yeah.
So they did find the tree. I mean, find the hand, whatever. And at first the police were like, maybe, this is animals, like, eating the body. That's disgusting, I'm sorry. But, like, taking over, eating the body, and they just, like, drug the hand off, which is possible. That could happen. But also, if that did happen, why would the animal not just take the whole thing with them? Save it for later.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they don't just eat it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it goes. But, that's kind of what the police thought. But Margaret Murray thinks that there's another explanation. She finds this killing to be very consistent with a ritual called the Hand of Glory. Okay.
Oh my gosh, a ritual.
The ritual, okay. The Hand of Glory is an occult practice where after you kill someone, typically for a sacrifice, the hand would be severed off and buried in the ground 13 paces from the body. Okay. Now, obviously, the police did not count the paces in between the hand and the tree, because what is a pace? I don't know what kind of measurement that is. But so there's no, like, evidence really to say, like, how exactly far the hand was from the tree, because obviously forensics at this time was not good. They did not have a tape measure out there. They were not doing their jobs as they should have been. So we don't actually know, like, the exact measurements from how far it was, but it could be possible that it was 13 paces away. Let's see here. She also says that, like, witch elms are often associated with magic in the occult, but I personally wonder if that's just because of the name of the tree.
Or maybe it's called that because it's part of the occult.
Okay, that's a very solid point. Very solid point. So Margaret did, in fact, go to the police with this theory, and they investigated it, like, as much as they could, but everything was kind of inconclusive. So, another dead end, tragically. But the last theory came from 1953 when people started talking about the victim possibly being a woman by the name of Clarabella Dronkers. Okay, so Clarabella was allegedly killed by a German spy because she worked at this music hall where, like, these German spies met up, and apparently she overheard maybe a little bit too much information, and they killed her because of it, and then put her in this tree.
Interesting.
There's literally no evidence for this, other than there was a girl named Clarabella Dronkers who died.
Yeah, just the Bella matches up.
Literally the Bella. And, well, not died, but she was, like, missing. So, I mean, I guess it's possible that it could be her. But, the German spy theory, I don't know how I'm feeling about it.
I mean, that is interesting just because people like, the drama that brings,
Oh, 100%. Definitely. We love the good old German spy drama. Plus, like, it was at the end of World War II. So, like, people were worried about the Germans, They didn't trust them.
Yeah.
And as they should not have. This story has gone down as one of the UK's most known murder mysteries that we still have no answers for today. And it's also been on Unsolved Mysteries, which gave it, like, a lot of popularity back in the day. But, we still to this day don't know who put Bella in the witch elm. And who do you think did that? Or why? Like, who do you think she was? Like, what theory are you going to go with?
I don't know. I feel like your theory is, like, I agree with the one you believe.
Yeah.
That she was, working the streets and somebody came up to her, and I don't know. I feel like there's a chance that she was accidentally killed.
I think so too. I really think so too. But, like, just by Lord knows who. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, we will never know.
Or maybe she was attacked because people knew that nobody would care.
Exactly.
So,
That's
a big
thing.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just...
It's so frustrating. I hate not having answers. Why do I keep doing this to myself?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're cutting off the name Mysteries. It's just Myths and Legends from here on out. I'm irritated that I don't have the answers. Just kidding. But yeah, that is the mystery of Bella in the Witch Elm. Crazy. And there are pictures of, like, the graffiti, so we'll post that on Instagram. So definitely go check that out. Because it's a little spooks magooks, if I can't lie. Some of them are.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Like, one of them's, like, put, like, on, like, a really, like, rundown, like, I guess it's like a gate, like a fence type situation. It's really creepy looking.
Okay. That's cool.
But yeah, so definitely go check out our Instagram for that, and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please, por favor. But other than that, I really don't have anything else this week. What about you?
Yeah, nothing else for me.
All right, well, I guess we will see you guys next week.
All right, cue the music.